Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have with us Holly Morphew. Holly is an award-winning accredited financial counselor, author, global speaker, and founder and CEO of Financial Impact. Her proprietary programs have helped thousands create personal wealth and achieve financial independence. Her unique approach to money has been featured in Forbes, Yahoo Finance, Her Money, and more. And she just launched a book, Simple Wealth, which is hot off the press. In it, she shares practical tips to transform your relationship with money and live in abundance. Holly is here to talk about both her book and her real estate experience, which is a new thing for us here on the Real Estate Investing Club. So, Holly, I am very excited to dive into this. How are you this morning?
Thank you so much, Gabe. I am thrilled to be here.
Awesome. As I was mentioning, I got your last name correct, right? Morphew?
Yeah, Morphew. It's an oxymoron. My teacher used to call me Miss Minnie Less.
I realized I didn't ask that before we hopped on the podcast, so I wanted to make sure. So as I said before the show, we always start with stories here at the Real Estate Investing Club. So why don't you take us back to the beginning? How did you get started and how did you end up where you are today?
Yes, I feel like mine is quite the story too, because it wasn't my intention to become a financial coach. And I always wanted to work for myself, but I didn't know how I was going to do that. And I just feel so blessed because I grew up in a family of money talkers. You know, my mom is a big real estate investor. Her mom was a real estate investor. And my dad is an entrepreneur. He owned and operated 3 franchise businesses over his 45-year career.
Wow.
And so I just thought it was normal to, talk about the deals and talk about the properties at dinner. And, my mom, she started out as a realtor and she was an entrepreneur herself. She had a toy store, and then I guess she decided she didn't like retail. So, and she was the dreamer. She, my dad was the steady Eddie, brought home the paycheck, worked the 9 to 5 and a half day on Saturday. And my mom wanted the big money and she was willing to take the risks. And so I feel like I got kind of the perfect blend of both of my parents' philosophies. And, really my story begins with my mom added me and my brother and sister to a couple of her credit cards when we were teenagers. And so we started building credit at a young age. And this was so powerful for me, not only because I was able to start buying property. I bought my first house when I was 25, but for another reason. It helped me when I was 20 years old. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness. And like most 20-year-olds, I kind of ignored it and didn't really want to face it. And it wasn't until, I was able to graduate from college on time, moved to the East Coast with my 3 best girlfriends, got a great job in real estate. Actually, my first job was working for this boutique real estate company in Boston, in Newton, if anyone's familiar with that neighborhood. And we only sold $1 million and up properties. And so I learned so much. But unfortunately, I got sick and my insurance didn't cover my expensive medication, which was $5,000 a month.
Oh my God.
So here I am, yeah, young, entry level worker, just trying to make it work. And ultimately, I was just going into a mountain of debt, every month that passed. And so I decided to move home and live with my parents. And that time I was, 25 years old. And what was great about this experience is that I had the credit, so I was able to charge my medications and take care of myself. And B, I had the I listened to my intuition, which said, you know what, Holly, you really need to take care of yourself above all. And so when I lived with my parents for those few months, I was able to get better and save a lot of money. I got a great job again in real estate. I actually worked in real estate my first 6 years of my career. And man, I mean, it was an amazing experience. I did work really hard, but then I had, I had good credit, I had income, and I had a low, debt to income ratio. So I was able to buy a house at a young age, and none of my friends were doing that, and I looked around and I started asking the question, why are my friends still living in apartments? I got a roommate. I charged her just a little bit of rent. It was good for her. It was great for me because it helped me pay my mortgage. And at the time, I was a member of Rotary International, which is an international service organization. And I just went to them and I said, hey, I've noticed that my friends who are my age aren't, in as great of a financial position as I am, even though I had the debt. Okay. And I said, why don't I go to local high schools and teach them about money? I called it What You Need to Know That You Don't Learn in School. That was the name of my first program.
I love it.
Yeah. And it was just a complete success. Like, I was taking time off work to teach this workshop, and I was having so much fun. And, the kids loved it. And then pretty soon, like, the teachers were saying, can I sit in on your workshop? And the parents of my students were wanting to sit in. And that's when I realized, okay, people, like, it's not just young adults that need financial education. It's everyone. Like, people are
Yep.
thirsty for this. So that was really the beginning of me becoming a financial coach. In 2015, I became an accredited financial counselor, and I've been investing in real estate the whole way. And I have dreams to invest in even more property as I go on.
Yep. No, I love it. And there's a lot of good things that I hear in your story, especially getting, stuck in a mountain of debt. I know there are plenty of people out there who have debt and they feel it's a burden that they just can't crawl out of. That is never the case. Obviously, you are here. You proved that. Even if you have debt, $5,000 a month, by the way, for medication, that is just ridiculous. Like, come on, jeez.
Tell me
Especially when you're in
about
your
it.
yeah, especially when you're in your 20s, that could easily sink you. So what I really liked about your story is that you had the debt, it was on top of you, it was a burden, but it didn't stop you. You went out there, you kept working, you got yourself out of that debt. Obviously, you're here today on the Real Estate Investing Club, teaching the story that you were teaching kids in Rotary, which is awesome, by the way. So tell us, I mean, you have this book, Simple Wealth. Obviously, this is kind of the framework that you use to get yourself out of that debt, to kind of the paradigm that you use. I'm sure your parents taught you a lot of this to create wealth. So go into a little bit of Simple Wealth. What is the structure there?
Yeah, thank you so much. I love talking about this book. And, it was only published in February, and it immediately became a number one bestseller in 9 out of 10 categories.
Oh, wow.
Real estate.
Good job.
Yeah, real estate, credit repair, budgeting, retirement, wealth management, money management, women in business, personal transformation. And I mean, it was a total labor of love writing this book. And the book is literally about the system, the financial impact system, which is just 3 simple steps to create personal wealth. But what really happened, let me just say this: building personal wealth is 20% strategy and 80% psychology.
Oh,
Like,
I love it.
it's the book is, yes, it's the strategy. It's the 3 simple steps to create personal wealth, and how I eliminated $67,000 in debt in 3 years and then became financially independent in my 30s. But it's about the personal practices and the behaviors and the mindset. It's about the mindset that transforms you into a wealthy person. Because yes, we all know the strategy: eliminate your debt, save your money, create residual income. Like, we know that, if you're a real estate investor, you probably get that at this point. But it's what is it that helps you make those good, healthy money decisions every single day over and over? And for me, like, I think that's why this book has been so successful, because I talk about money in a really different way. And the truth is that, it really wasn't until I was in my mid to late 20s that, I was a six-figure earner at a young age. And I remember, at one point I was literally living paycheck to paycheck, and I was working in real estate. It was commission only. And I remember one day we had these three back-to-back snowstorms in Colorado, and I was driving a Honda Accord, and my office was 40 miles away from my house.
Oh,
And I
no.
called my boss and I said, I think it's a risk for me to come into work today. And she said, well, if you don't come in, you're fired.
Oof.
And I was like, okay, well, what? I actually thought forward. Like, this is something really important to do, like to think forward. What would happen if you make this one little decision, or what would happen
Yeah.
if you make this one big decision? And so as I thought about it, I was like, I need to actually write down what my balances are on my credit cards, how much money I can expect to come in, how much money I can expect to go out. And when I did that is when I realized I had $67,000 in credit card debt.
Oof.
So then I called my financial advisor like the very next day. And I was like, because, I had the 401k and I was doing all the things that like society tells us to do. And he asked me, the first question he asked me, because I was like, I'm in trouble. I'm working 60 to 70 hours a week, every single weekend, late nights. Like, I can't work anymore. And I'm doing my best to sell all the property that I possibly can. But like, I need help. I could literally, this house of cards, metaphorical house of cards that I'm living in, I could lose my house because I can't make the payment. I could lose the car because I can't make the payment. And so he asked me, how much more money do you want to invest? And that was just another like head explosion awakening for me. I was like, oh, okay. Even my financial advisor doesn't know how to tell me how to create freedom. Like, I just wanted freedom. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted a ton of money because I want to spend a ton of money. I want to make a ton of money. Like, that's the life that I want. And so when I realized that, financial advisors are great, they help you invest the money that you already have, but like, I want to create more money in my life. And so after that, I devoted the next 12 months of my life to learning everything I could about entrepreneurship, investing, business, debt elimination, personal finance. And 3 years later, I was totally debt free.
Oh,
And then
wow.
shortly after that, I had money in the bank, and then I became financially independent in my 30s. And real estate was definitely a big component of that.
I love it. I love it. And I mean, it sounds like from your story, you got kind of stuck in that hamster wheel where, you had the debt and you just kept pressing because you needed to go forward. You couldn't really look sideways, left or right. It was just, you needed to just get this done and there was no other option. So for people who are in that situation that you were in, you mentioned 20% strategy, 80% psychology. What advice would you give to people who are, let's say they have 67,000 or what was it, $68,000 in debt. And they're just, they're looking, they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. What is the advice you would give that person to start taking steps to get out of that debt and create financial freedom themselves?
Yes, yes, yes. I'm so glad you're asking this question because three things immediately popped into my mind. And so I'm going to start with the psychology piece because I think it's so powerful. Like, it really wasn't until, I was married for 10 years and went through a divorce in 2016, and I had to start over. And, I really had to face my money. I really had to face myself. And that's when I started to implement the personal practices that transform you into a wealthy person. And so I'm going to give you a strategic thing that you can do right now if you're, climbing out of a hole like I was, or you're facing a divorce like I was, or maybe you just like want to buy your first property so you can go on a couple of vacations a year. I don't know. The first thing is the practice. And this is what changes your vibrations. So you start to attract more opportunities and you start to feel better. You are your money maker. One of the best investments you can make is in yourself, whether you're spending money on massage because you work with your hands or your body, or you're investing in a course to learn how to buy your first property. An investment in yourself is an investment. But what gets you to that point where you can invite in more opportunities to make more money is to start a gratitude practice. I know it sounds so simple, but I have a morning routine, and it's just, I love my morning routine. It just changes everything. And, it's long. I wake up at 5 and I usually don't get to my desk until between 9 and 10. But the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I either say it out loud or I just mentally name 5 things that I'm thankful for. And my health is always on the list because, there were 4 years when I couldn't walk, like I lived that. I got that lesson at a really young age. But sometimes it's like, okay, I have a couple things that repeat on that list every morning. It makes me feel really good to think about the things that I'm thankful for. But sometimes I'll just take it to like, maybe I can name 50 things I'm thankful for. And, just being in gratitude is a great way to get yourself into the mindset so that you can go out and take the action. So that's the psychological component. The next thing is strategic. And, in the game of money, you have to know what to do and you have to know in what order to do those things. And unfortunately, we're not teaching financial education in school. We're just preparing kids to be spenders and workers and consumers. But building wealth is so, so simple if you just know what to do. So the first thing is write it down. Write it down. And when I say write it down, I mean, take the time to get out all of your statements, get out your credit card statements, get out your retirement account statements if you have them, and write down the balances. And then write down how much money you can expect to come in the next 30 days and how much money you can expect to go out in the next 30 days. And determine what is you want to identify your impact. I call it your impact factor. Your impact factor is the difference when you subtract your expenses from your income, say on a 30-day basis, how much money is left over. And whether it's a little bit or a lot, you just put that little bit or a lot to its highest and best use. And you just keep on doing that. And you just keep the focus by having the information, like when you're afraid, when you have fear, what do? We go to the source. So this is you going to the source of getting information about what is the current lifestyle that you're living. And once you have that information, you can say, okay, I've got an extra $100 a month. I'm going to use that to eliminate my high interest rate debt. And you just keep showing up and keep doing it. And life is long if you're lucky enough to live. And one day you are going to wake up with money in the bank.
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast. I love that. One of my favorite, I guess it's words or concepts, is the idea of Kaizen. I'm sure you've heard of it. The Kaizen that the Japanese automakers use to improve their businesses. Basically, it just means small steps every day towards improvement is going to make huge impacts over the long run. And it sounds like that's a big component of what you're preaching here, as well as the gratitude. I love that that's one of the main cornerstones of your morning routine. I know from my own experience, when you focus on gratitude, your world kind of opens up. If you focus on fear, your world will close down and options will whittle themselves down. But the more you focus on gratitude, the more your world opens up and the easier it is to identify the right steps to take. So love that you said that. We have hit the 20-minute mark, so I do have to push us into the quick question round, but I have loved talking to you so far. So you ready to jump into the quick question round?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. We always start with books because I'm a big bookie. So why don't you tell me 2 book recommendations, one for general life wisdom and one for real estate or business in general?
Oh, okay, great. Love this question. I love books. Books are amazing. So, okay, I'm going to recommend a leadership book. It's one of the best leadership books that I've read, and it's by Tisha Schuler, and it's called Accidentally Adamant. It's called Accidentally Adamant. And this woman was an environmentalist who was tasked to become the president of the Colorado Oil and Gas Association when fracking was a really hot topic. And man, if you want to learn about perseverance and just showing up and like being your best and really listening, listening is such a powerful tool. We have 2 ears and one mouth, and the more we listen, the more we learn.
Absolutely. I love it. So that
Yeah.
one, that sounds like a business. How about a general life wisdom?
Okay, general life wisdom. Well, I was thinking that one could be the general
Okay.
life
No,
wisdom
that's
book because
fine. I don't want to
leadership.
put words in your mouth. So,
And I have to come back to Rich Dad Poor Dad.
oh, yeah.
Probably everybody in your audience has read this book, but
Oh, yeah.
read it again, man. It is so inspiring. And I feel like Robert Kiyosaki, even, you see where he is now, and it's very interesting, but it's just a great book to like learn the things that make our world go round and how we can get in. Just as I call myself a little person, even though nobody's really little, but I'm not like a top 1% business, but you can make an impact in your own wealth and health. And I love that book.
Yep. Rich Dad Poor Dad is, you obviously you're not the first person to say that on the Real Estate Investing Club. And it's like the Bible of the Real Estate Investing Club. So many people have read it, and I recommend it to anybody who has not had a chance and they're interested in real estate. Gives you a great overview. So glad you said that one. Moving on though. So we're on to the next question. And this one talks about your younger self. So if you could go back to the Holly who had no experience in real estate, who had, she hadn't started her own business yet. She was still working. Say you're just getting out of college, go back to her, give her one piece of advice moving forward.
Oh, yes. I would say progress over perfection.
Love it. It's Kaizen right there. I love it. Going back. All right. Next question. And this one, you've already mentioned that habits are a big part of your life. Habits are the foundation of everyone's life. So if you could pinpoint one habit that you feel has contributed the most to your overall health, wealth, success, happiness, what would that be?
I find time every day to give in some way. I really believe that it comes back to you. And since I started giving intentionally in lots of different ways, it's made a tremendous impact in my life.
I love it. All right, on to the next one. And this one is about your strengths. So it's time for you to brag a little bit. We all have strengths that are unique to ourselves. So what is your Superman, Superwoman strength? What are you very good at?
I mean, I'm a great financial coach, and I think it's because I love the numbers. Like I love getting my clients documents, and I have a wealth strategy template. If any of your listeners want to grab that, it's on my website, financialimpact.com. Just go to the resources page and you can grab the wealth strategy. This is where you can write it down. You're like your baseline. This is where you start to write things down. But I'm really good at saying, okay, this is your debt crush, and this is how quickly you're going to get to personal wealth. This is when you're out of debt. This is when you got savings, and this is when you can buy property or, start a business, whatever it is that you want to do.
I love it. All right. So that is it. We have one last question for you, but it sounds like you already mentioned it. What is the best way for people to reach out to you?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm on Instagram. Holly Morph is my name, HOLLYMORPH, and my website, financialimpact.com.
All right. Well, Holly, thank you very much for showing up today. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yes. Thank you so much. This has been great.
For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason that we do this, so we appreciate having you here. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to me at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI Systems and Vendors Guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automagically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investor's Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesaler's Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.